The easy way to deliver.
The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Have you ever finished a conversation, a difficult conversation, like a performance review or a team progress meeting, and looked at the team in the eye and watched them nod in agreement? You think you've done a good job, all went well. Right? And I'm absolutely sure you would have walked that path. And then a few days later, you discover the other person walked away with a completely different story. You think, how could they possibly misunderstand something so obvious? The uncomfortable truth, friend, is they are probably asking the same question about you. Today, I want to suggest something that might make you uncomfortable. Most communication problems are not communication problems. They are perception problems. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent decades studying this phenomenon. She discovered that two honest people could witness the same exact event but remember it differently. Her famous experiment involved a traffic accident. One group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? The other group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? What was seen? One word change in describing the same event brought out different memories, different speed estimates. Some participants even remembered broken glass that never existed. Their minds simply reconstructed reality differently. Think about it. If one word can change how we remember the past, what might one sentence do inside a high-pressure workplace? Most people think misunderstandings happen because people don't listen or because someone has a bad intention. But the operation reality is much more dangerous, actually. Human beings do not record conversations like a flight data recorder. We hear words, but those words travel through customized filters of our mind. Past failures, old disappointments, expectations, pressures, fear, and hopes. And somewhere inside all that noise, we construct meaning. The signal enters the system, but by the time it reaches our understanding, it has already been processed by these filters. And that changes everything. Imagine a director meeting with a senior manager during a delayed project launch. The director says, we need to ensure this job is completed before the end of the quarter. No exceptions. We cannot afford another delay. What the director meant to transmit to his team was focus with a disciplined commitment to see that the job is done. The project manager, to him and the team, the line "no exceptions" did not sound like a request for focus. It sounded like a threat. Instantly, the psychological safety drops. Listening stops. Defensive planning begins. The director made this statement as a request for polite compliance and assumed alignment. The meeting ended successfully for him, except it didn't for the project manager. The system had just experienced a catastrophic data split. Two intelligent professionals have just left the same room, flying in completely opposite headings. But why does this happen? Because the human brain hates uncertainty. When information is incomplete, it refuses to leave any blank spaces. Usually, without asking permission, using the conditioning filters we already have in our mind, it filters basically based on our experience, biases, pressures, fears, past scars, expectations, and creates a reality of its own. And eventually, you stop seeing the actual reality. You start seeing reality through the way your internal sensors have been calibrated. This is a human EICAS problem. Imagine an aircraft in which the engine is operating perfectly, but one engine sensor malfunctions. A perfectly engine suddenly displays a critical warning on the flight instrumentation. The pilot initiates non-normal action. The pilot is reacting to the version of reality seen on the display in front of him. Think about it. The pilot is reacting to the version of reality the system is displaying. Because that's what exactly human beings do. A stressed employee may receive a feedback as a criticism. A leader may hear silence as an agreement. A colleague may interpret urgency as disrespect. People may not be reacting to what was actually said. They may be reacting to the reality that their internal system has constructed. And when those distorted realities begin interacting, the consequence can be enormous. Tenerife, March 27, 1977. A fog-covered runway in Tenerife, Canary Islands in Spain. 2 Boeing 747 aircrafts and nearly 600 passengers. A KLM captain believes that he's clear to take off. The control tower believes he's waiting for clearance and clears another 747 to land. Neither side believes there is a misunderstanding. Nobody thinks another question is necessary. Everyone believes they are operating on the same reality, but they are not. Seconds later, 2 aircrafts collide. 583 people lose their lives. The tragedy of Tenerife wasn't silence, but the tragedy was certain to happen. It was not that people were not communicating. They were actively involved, but developed different interpretation of the same signal. The lesson aviation learned was profound. Good people, highly trained, experienced professionals who honestly believed they understood the situation well and still were catastrophically wrong. So aviation stopped relying on assumptions. It built the safety system to verify understanding. Read-back procedures, crew cross-checks, confirmation loops, and standard phraseologies were introduced to reduce this danger. Because in aviation, clarity is never assumed. It's actively confirmed. Maybe our teams need to learn the same lesson. The same mechanism that caused Tenerife creates tension in our homes, fractures teams, stalls projects, destroys trust, and occasionally changes history. EC3 approaches communication differently. We don't treat communication as broadcasting. We treat it as a system synchronization. So learn to feel, notice the unexpected reactions, the unusual silence, the strange compliance. Then identify where the interpretation is diverging from the intended information. Ask what changed that signal. Find the pressure, find the fears, find the expectations. And then solve, pause, clear the noise, remove the distortion, synchronize understanding, and finally leave. Confirm what was actually received by the team, not what you hope to be received. Therefore, next time you leave a high-stakes conversation, remember that reality is what matters, not your intention, which will determine what happens next. So always run a simple cross-check. Ask, what risks or concerns are you people seeing that I am not? Is there something I can do to help this situation? What does my order look like from your position? These 3 questions will expose communication distortion before it becomes an execution failure. Remember, Leadership begins the moment we become curious about the reality someone else is experiencing. As intelligence becomes artificial, understanding humans become the ultimate competitive advantage. That is the EC³ way. Feel, find, solve, and lead, and deliver performance beyond expectations. And don't forget to subscribe if you found something of value. I'm Group Captain Isaac.